Hello, I'm Art Torres. Welcome to this episode of Daggett to Daggett. Yeah, we're coming back from San Bernardino, me and my friend Arch Carey and his daughter. And as we drove by that tree, or Interstate 40 heading eastbound, there was two trucks on the side of the road, and the truck in front was on fire. So we hot-footed it to Daggett. We was going to get on the fire truck and pull the switch and get everybody to show up and take care of this situation. Well, Archie dropped me off at my house, and I said, I'll meet you there. So by the time I got changed, my gear and everything else, I went to the fire station across from the post office in Daggett, and they were already gone. Because most of the firefighting guys were at the Sportsman Bar on the end of town, east end of town, the Sportsman Bar that was at that time run by my brother-in-law, Grant Teasley. So they all went to the fire station, jumped in the fire truck, and here they went. Well, while all that was going on, the Highway Patrol sent a patrolman out, and they did a stop on traffic, and traffic was rerouted. And as I'm pulling up, the cop says, you can't go any further. I said, well, I'm in Daggett Fire. He says, I see a truck full of people. It looks like they got enough people. So you're going to stay here with me and help me direct traffic. Okay, darn it. So here I stayed in Daggett, the cutoff there, directed traffic. Pretty soon, here comes the fire truck, and here comes the volunteers, and everybody's all hanging on to the truck that was on the side. Highway Patrol come by, and they relieved this guy because they had moved traffic on the old highway and brought it up this way to loop around. So after they started pulling in, going back to the fire station, and then we all ended up at the Sportsman Bar, and they pulled the fire truck around the back of the bar. I had no idea what was going on. And they were taking something out and put it in the freezer. And they were talking about, oh man, we got there and one truck hit another. The one truck in front was full of candy bars. That's the one that caught fire. And the one that hit it was full of pork roast. And they showed me. They held it up for a big pork roast. And so we got a little bit. Everybody's getting it. We saw the Highway Patrol load some up, so we got some, And we saw the guys from Barstow Fire and all this good stuff. So we didn't think nothing of it. We drank our beer, our good old Coors beer. We drank it, telling fire stories or whatever was going on. And they were laughing at me because I had to stay in Daggett to direct traffic. Well, the next day, my brother, who worked at the Marine base, was asked to go to this certain office upstairs, and the FBI was there, and they wanted to interview him on his part on the fire the night before. And I asked him questions, all this stuff. He said, no. He says, I seen the pork roast, and I did see it all over the place. But I don't have any in my house. If you want to go to my house, we can go check right now. And they started going to everybody's house that was on the volunteer list. Oh, when they got to one guy, Keith Kinney, he was one of the, not elder people, but he was one of the older people at Daggett. He was a volunteer. And went to his house, they knocked on his door, and when they came to the door, he had a piece of meat that he was getting ready to chew on, and they says, hey, we're with the FBI, we're here about some stolen meat off of a wreck on the interstate, and that's interstate transportation of stolen goods and all this other good stuff, whatever their official words were. He says, and we're going to take you to Barstow for an interview. And when they got to Barstow, half of Daggett and half of the Highway Patrol was there. Barstow Fire Department people was there. And a few other looky-loos. And they did the interview and all that stuff. And later on, they called us, and we all had to meet at the fire station in Daggett. But when I got there, they wouldn't let me in. And so I went back to the Sportsman Bar, and I emptied out all the 10 or 12 roasts that they had back in the walk-in. I put them in my truck, and I left them in my truck, and I drove to my brother's house. When they did the interview at the fire station with everybody, they went to everybody's house. They couldn't find nothing in my brother's house. That's where I was going to take it, but it's still in my truck. Anyway, they all went to go see the magistrate, Connie Malum. He was a federal magistrate. They did deal, and he put everybody on probation, 6 months, you know, all this good stuff. But from that point on, our communications, radio communications, whenever we had a fire or a traffic accident, we were referred to as Daggett Fire. Daggett Fire, comm center, blah, blah, blah. You got a fire, you got a car wreck, or whatever. But every once in a while, there was one dispatcher who would say, Porkchop Gang, Daggett, do you copy? And yeah, you got the Porkchop Gang. For a couple years, that guy kept referring to us as Porkchop Gang. Well, here's the funny part. The part when I was over there in Daggett doing the traffic control, they pull up on scene, and they get the 1-inch high pressure, what's called grass lines, get them out, and they start fighting this fire, and they're running out of water. Barstow Fire shows up, and they had a brand new fire truck. I don't know what it was. Bells and whistles. You know, just they pulled up, and it was just on the newspaper a couple of days before. You know, look at Barstow got a brand new truck. It's got all the bells and all the whistles. You know, so they pull up, and they tell the highway patrolman, "Get Daggett out of the way. We're here." Get all these guys. They push them out of the way, and they got this brand new, beautiful hose with a turbo nozzle, turbojet nozzle they call it. And they're pulling up like this, you know, and making sure Daggett has to stay behind there. They get there and they brace for that impact of that power, or the torque from the water. The lead guy on the hose leans back, looks over, and he looks at the engineer on the truck, and he goes, and nothing came out. Looks back again and goes, and still nothing came out. And the engineer's like, couldn't get it going. So our fire chief showed up, Gabe Marcus. He shows up, and he goes over to their battalion chief, and he goes, "Hey, we're going to draft water out of your truck. We'll finish putting this fire out." So Daggett Fire, in their 1953 Diamond T fire truck, put out the fire. And then we did an overhaul, cleanup, or they did. I wasn't there. I was at Daggett. So they did all the cleanup, all this good stuff. But the funny thing, it was funny, period, was this brand new fire truck from Barstow, 3 pictures on the front page of the Desert Dispatch, bells and whistles, all this good stuff, and this, and nothing happened. Well, that was kind of funny for us, because we're just, I mean, they look down on us like, just a bunch of Okies from Muskogee, Daggett, you know. And so that was kind of funny. Well, everybody started loading up all this stuff. Long story short, when it was confiscated by the FBI, the lead guy was, I think it was Mel Wessel, was the lead FBI agent, and he had a suit on, and he showed up there with a couple other FBI agents, and everybody that felt guilty brought their meat back. He took it, confiscated it, said it was going to go to feed some Vietnamese people that were coming from Vietnam. Well, about a week later, I was at Bill's Auto Supply, and I got invited to a barbecue over at the guy that owned the trash outfit before Burtech, Johnny Walker. And I got invited to a barbecue over there or whatever. And we get there and look at all the meat, and they had all the fixings and all this stuff. And I said, is this pork? Yeah. He said, Mel Wessel, give me a couple of these. He says, I thought I'd have a little party get together. So everybody got their fair share. Welcome to Daggett to Daggett.